Hey, what's up? In this video we'll be creating this file upload system. In this file upload system, one can be able to upload files and store them on a database and display them on a website. The system allows you to upload the image alongside its description. It will also have the ability of renaming the image and storing it with a new name. We will start by creating all the HTML work that is required for this simple system. We will later style the page with some custom CSS as well as Bootstrap CSS. Later, we will create the PHP script that will contain the logic for receiving our submitted file and saving it to the uploads folder, as well as storing the file information in the database. This will be followed by the creation of the database that will permanently store our files. And finally, we'll have the PHP script that will be used to retrieve the files and display them on our index.php page. Well, the first thing that we need to do is to create the HTML form that we'll need to upload our files. And to be able to do this, I've already created the index.php. So this is within a project folder that I have named upload folder, and within the upload folder I also have another folder that contains all the Bootstrap CSS files that we need to style our form. This is in a folder called dist and within a subfolder called CSS. So we are going to have all the Bootstrap files that we need to style our form. We'll also be creating a custom CSS that will also be helping us to style our page. But before we get there, let's first of all work with the form, the HTML form. And to be able to do this, I'll just come and create a simple HTML structure here. Let me just come and close this so that you're not confused on what is happening here. So I'll just come and remove all of that like that so that we can just focus on this. So the first thing that I need to change here is the title, and I'll just come and call this file upload system. Now below the title we'll be linking to our bootstrap .min.css. So I'll just come here and say dist /css / bootstrap .min.css. I'll also be creating the custom.css file and also having some custom CSS code on it. So we'll be creating that in a second, but let me just first of all link to it here. So it will also be in the dist CSS / let me just come and call it custom.css. So these are files that we'll be creating later. Now within the body, because we will be utilizing the Bootstrap classes, the first thing that I want to do is to create a div with a class of container. And now it is within the div that we are going to have our form. So the first thing that I'll do here before I create the form is to just have a heading 2 and just have the title upload system. It's not a must that you have this, but I just need to have it here. So I can just come and call it file upload system just because we can. So file upload system, and now we can come and finally create our form here. So I'll just come and say form, and the form I'll give it a method of post. And let me just come and break this down here so that we can be able to see all the form attributes that we need to have here. So we need to come and have the action, and for the action I'm going to come and give it upload.inc.php. Instead of dot here we can say underscore, so upload_inc.php. So these are files that we'll be creating later. So this is the file that will have all the logic information that will help us to upload the file. So this will contain all the PHP script that will help us in uploading our files. So this will help us to, of course, now pass the information via the form. So that's why we have the method post. And finally, we'll also need to have the ENC type, and we'll say this is equal to multipart / form data. So you need to have this form attribute, the ENC type, which specifies which content type to use when submitting the form. So now those are very important attributes that you need to have within your form. So now let's continue creating our form, and the next thing that we need to do now within the form tag here, we need to have the input tag, and we are going to have the input tag with a type of file. So the type file attribute of the input tag shows the input field as a file select control with a browse button next to the input control. So this will just have us with a button that we'll be clicking so that we can be able to select the file that we want to upload. So again, if you don't include these input with the type of file, you're not going to have the button that you will really need to click so that you select the file that you need to upload. So that is very important, otherwise your form will not work. We'll also need to come and have another tag here, and this will be the text area. So this will basically just have as with a description for the image. So for this one I can just come and give it 60, for this one I can give it 5. So this is just the rows for our text area, and the columns will be adjusting this as need be. And just before I forget, we're also going to have our input with a name. So we are going to come and have it with the name of file, and for the text area we're also going to come and have it with the name of let me just call it description. Yes, but you can just have it with anything that you need to have there, but at least it should have this. So this is what will be helping us now to grab that specific information, and of course now store it in or on a database. So now finally we also need to have at the bottom here a button, so the submit button that of course will be clicked to submit the data. So I'll just come and say a button, and this button I'll give it a type of submit. And because we are using Bootstrap, I'll utilize the Bootstrap class of styling a button, that is btn -btn, and we want this to be a green button. So for that we're going to come and say success. This one needs to be within the class. Yeah, so we need to have it that way, and because we want the button to be long, I'll also come and give it another Bootstrap class of btn block. So this just makes it look like a block. So this is my preference. You can just have it or just ignore it altogether. So we'll also come and have it with a name of submit, and we're also now going to come and have the name here, that is upload. So let me just come and break it down there so that you can see what is happening there. So that is all that we need to create for our HTML form. Now, before we provide any CSS styling to our form, let us see how it looks on a browser. So I'm going to head on to Microsoft Edge, and here I'll just come and type localhost. So the name of my project is upload, and this is how our form looks like. So this is just with the bootstrap.main.css, but we still need to add some custom CSS so that we can at least make it even look more fancy. So that's what we want to do right now. So I'm heading on back to my text editor, and I'm going to go to the project folder. So that is the upload, and within the CSS folder, I want to come and create a new file, and I'm going to come and call it custom.css. And now here, the first thing that I'll need to do is to style the whole page. So I'll just come and say HTML, comma, and then the body. And this one, I just want to give it a height of 100%. So I'll say height 100%. I'll also come down here and say body, and for the body I want to give it a display of flexbox. I also want to give it a padding top, and I want to give it a padding top of 40 pixels, as well as padding bottom. So same case, so it will be 40%. And I also want to give it a background color, so that is a grayish background color. So I'll give it this color code, so that is F5, 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 and that's it with the body. So I'll move to the form, and for the form, first thing is I'll give it a width of 100%. So I'll just come and say 100%. I'll also give it a max width of say 900. Let me just say give it 900 pixels. Sorry. And finally I'll give it a margin of auto. And that is all the custom CSS code that we need to style our form. So if we save the changes, head on back to our page, and then we refresh it, we are going to notice some change, as you can see. So but still I need to style it a bit, so I'll head on back to the index.php, and for this one I'll give it a class, so that is the heading. I'll give it a bootstrap class of MB4, and the same class I'll also have it within the text area. So I'll just come and give this a class of sorry, so this should be out here. So that is So the text area, I'll give it a class, and the class will be form control, and also MB-4. So this will just give it some padding. And I'll also need to have it within the submit button, so I'll also come and have it here. So MB-4, yeah, and that is all that we need. Oh sorry, we also need to come and have it within the input, so that is class is equals MB-4. So save the changes, head on back, refresh our work, and that is what we have, and that is what I was intending to create. So we are going to have the upload button here, or the choose file button, that when you click it will open the file explorer, so where you're supposed now to pick the file or the image that you want, and then you say open, and that specific name, we should see it here. And of course, now if you need to apply some description, you can apply it here. So right now the form is not functional, so this is just pure HTML. If you can remember, we added the upload_inc.php file in the action of our form. This is the file that contains all the logic of receiving our submitted file and saving it to the uploads folder, as well as storing the file information in the database. Because we've not created it yet, let's actually create it now. So what I'll just need to do, first of all, I'll just come and close all these CSS files, and within the upload folder, that is our main project folder, I'm just going to come and create a file, and I'm going to come and call it upload_inc.php. So the first thing that we need to do here before we do anything is to open the PHP tag. So, and of course come and close it here, but because we won't be having any HTML, we can just leave it like that. But just in case we need to have some HTML down there, let me just come and close it there. So now within the PHP tags, what I need to come and have first here is to require the database. I know this is something that we have not created, but we'll be creating it in a second. So the name of the database connection will be con.php. So we'll be creating this in a moment. And so the first thing that I need to do here is to check if the submit button was clicked, and I will use the if statement. So just come and say if, and the condition will be if is set, and into brackets the post, and what we are checking is if the submit button is clicked. So if the submit button is clicked, I want to echo some code. So I'll just come and say echo. So I just like doing this just to test if everything is working. So I can just come and say I was clicked, and we can just have it like that. So let me just come and save that, and then we head on back to our form here. We refresh that, and then I click on the upload, and it is telling us we don't have the con.php. So let me just come and comment this out. We will be using it later when we create the con.php. So let me just continue. So the next thing that I need to check I'll pick from the form is the description. Remember, in our index.php, we are requiring the user to provide a description for the image. So I want to come and grab this from the form. So I'll just come here and say the $sign description, and I'll set this to equal to $_ underscore the post method, and I'll have the description again. And of course, not forgetting the semicolon at the end there. And that is the only text that we need to collect from the form. So the next thing that we also need to collect from the form is the image, and here we also want to check if the button to select the image was selected. So we are again going to use the if statement, and we are going to say if, and the condition will be if is set. And here, instead of the post method, we are going to use the file. So I'm just going to come and say files, and just before I forget, we need to check whether we provided yes. So the name that we provided here is what we need to come and have it within here. So I'll just come and say files, and then here I'll come and say files, because this is the name that we have here. So actually this should be file and not files. And then the next one should be the name of the file. So we are going to have another set of brackets, and in quotes we're going to have a name. So now within that PHP now, the code will be, I want to come and collect that image. So we're just going to come and create a variable here and call it image underscore name, and that will be equal to $_ underscore files. And we're just picking the form, or sorry, we're just grabbing the image and storing it in a variable called image name. So these, I'll just come and say a set of brackets, and then I just come and say image, and these again should have another set of brackets there, and then the name. So it's like we are literally repeating what we have on top here. So actually this should be file, and just to avoid the confusion, because I've been using image a lot, let's just go back to our input tag here, and for the name we change this to image. Yes, so because if we go with the file, I will make mistakes along the way. So image, and this one image as well. So now the next thing that I also want to show you is how you can be able to auto rename the image. So just so that when you upload a similar image, it is not like replaced with the previous image. So I'll just come and have a comment here and say auto rename image, and the code to auto rename the image is this. So we're just going to create a variable, we call it ext, and we are just going to set that is equals to end, a set of brackets, we say explode, a space, a set of another bracket, And now within this we are going to come and have a set of quotes within which we are going to have a period. Outside that we're going to have a comma, and then the $sign, the image underscore and name. And now below that, now we are going to rename the image. So we just like picking the image that we currently have, and then now down here we want now to come and rename the image. So I'll just come and say rename image, and so down here I'm just going to come and say $sign image. So I'm basically having the variable image underscore and name, and I want to set that to equal to the name that I want to give, the new name that I want to give the file. So maybe I can just come and call it tutorial underscore image. You can give it any name, underscore, and you just come and connect that here with rad, and a set of brackets. You just come and say 00, comma 999. Outside that you have a period, a set of single quotes, a period within them, and outside that you have a period and then a variable ext, so the one that we have on top here. So we close that. So down there we're also going to come and create another variable called source underscore path. So we're just like determining where this image will be saved temporarily, because at the end of the day we're going to have this image on the database, but we're also going to store it on the project folder, so on that path basically. So we're going to come and create a variable called source path, and we're going to have it with the files, a set of brackets, image, and outside that we're also going to come and have another set of brackets within which we're going to have the tmp underscore name, so the temporary name. We close that, and now finally what we want now to do is to save the image in that path. So into I can just say into the folder, so into the path that we have specified, or we are going to specify actually. So I'm going to come and create a variable and call it destination underscore path, and that will be equal to where we want to save our files. So I'll actually just head on to the specific project folder here, and what I want to do is to create the image folder. So I'll just click on that, then I come and create a folder. I can just call it image. So we have that specific folder. So I can head on back to the upload underscore inc.php file, and then now because we've already created the file, so we can just come and have its path here. So a set of quotes there, so image / and then we want to save it with the new name that the image has. So that's why we are going to come and have it with the variable image underscore name. because the new name that we created here, we saved it in this variable image name. So that's what we're having here. And then now we want to come and move the saved image or the image in that specific path. So I'm going to come and create another variable called upload, and I'll set that to equal to move underscore uploaded underscore file, and a set of brackets, the source path. So we are basically saying that we move that specific image with that name in this specific path. So underscore path. So this path that we have here. So we now want to move the file in that path. So and then underscore another variable of the destination path. So what we have here. Now before we proceed to move on to insert the image into the database, we want to check if the image was actually uploaded, and if it was not uploaded, we want to show an error. So I want to come and create that error here. So just come and say show error message. So show error message if the image is not uploaded. So now to be able to do that, we are going to come and create an if statement. So we're just going to come and say if, and the condition will be the variable uploaded. So if it is equal false, what I will be doing here is that I will be starting a session. So with the session, I'll be able to echo this message in whichever page the image is being uploaded on. So I'm actually planning on creating a full video that will tackle a session. So just be tuned. So I'll just come and create a session here. So I'll just come and say $_ underscore session, and to be able to create the session, I'll just come and say the global variable session. And then I'll just come and say if it failed. So I'm just going to come and give the session a name of failed, and I'll just come and say is equals to so I want to also utilize the bootstrap class so that the message is shown on a specific styled manner, so that is within a red block. So I'm just going to come and within the double quotes, I'm going to come and create a div, and this div I'll give it a class, and the specific class will be arrat danger. So this is because I want it to be red in color. So this should be double quotes instead, should be single quote instead of double quotes. So I should come and close that there. And now what I want to come and also do is to close the div. And then now within the div, I'm going to have the message that should be shown if the image is not uploaded. So maybe I'll just come and say failed to upload the image. So where the message will be echoed is on our index.php. So I'm just going to come and have a header here, and I'll also have it with the location of index.php. So if all that happens, so if all that does not happen, we're also going to come and say else, and we are going to come and have the image underscore name is equals to blank, like that. So now down here we want now to come and create the SQL query that will help us now to insert our image into the database. So I'm just going to come and say create SQL query to insert the image to the database. And so here I'll create a variable, call it SQL, and I'll set this is equal to insert into. So this is a database that we have not created, but we'll be creating it in a second. So I'll just come and say insert into insert into upload underscore table, and set the first thing that we are setting here is the description, and that is equal to the description. So here we should have this in quotes and a comma at the end there, and we also want to have the image underscore name. So is equals to the image, so this should also be in quotes like that. So we say image underscore name. So we should add that statement there. Then finally we want to come and store the results on a variable called res. So is equals to MYSQLI underscore query, and this will have the variable con. So this will be from the database connection, so that we have not yet created, but we're just creating it right now. SQL so this is the SQL that we have on top here. And you'll also come and say if the results, so if the results is equal true, so we now want to echo a message to the user if the image was uploaded successfully. So that's why we are saying if this returns true, then we should tell the user that the image was uploaded successfully. Else, if this statement returns false, then we will tell the user that the image was not uploaded successfully. So we are saying is equals to true, and then the curly brackets, and now within that we're going to come and have the session, and we're going to come and call this session uploaded. You can give it any name, And just to save time, I can just come and copy this because we need almost the same thing. So what I'll do is have some quotes there. So this should be double quotes like that. Yeah, and we should also have the header as the location index.php, so I'll also copy and paste that there. And else, if this is true, we're going to have this message. Else, if it is not, so we're just going to come and say else, and we're just going to come and have this, but now change it to maybe field underscore upload. And now instead of these, sorry, this will be danger, but this will be success, and this will be image uploaded successfully. Well, this one will be failed. Yes, just like that. So that is all the PHP script that we need to upload our image file. And now what I want to do, as you can remember, at the beginning here we required the con.php. So this is the file that we want to create right now. So to be able to do that, I'll go to my project folder, that is upload, and I'll just create a new file and call it con.php. So here we're just going to come and have the PHP, and down there the first thing that we need to have is the params to connect to the database. And the first parameter will be DB host, and that will be equal to localhost. So right now I'm just using the localhost, so just say localhost, and the next param will be a DB user, so that is root. The next one will be DB pass, and that will be equal to null because I don't have a password to access my database. I'll also have the DB name. So this is something that we have not created, but we'll be creating it in a second. So the DB name, so it will be, I'll just call it upload. So those are the params that we need to connect to the database. Now let us just connect to the database here. So we can just come and say connect to the database, and I'll create a variable called con, set it to MYSQLI underscore connect, and I'll have that with the parameters that we have on top there. So that is the DB host, comma, the DB user. So they should follow that order. So we also have the DB password, so like that, and then finally we have the DB name, just like that. Don't forget to close that there. And then now we can just use the if statement here to just echo an error if the connection is not made. So I can just say if, and if, and the condition will be if the connection is not made. So I'm going to start that with an exclamation mark, so that means if this returns a false or it is not successful. So $con, and the code will be die, and I'm just going to have a message of database connection failed. Yes, and I should not forget to close that there. So now that is done. So we have the index.php done, the upload_inc PHP script is done, and then the connection to the database, we have it okay. Now the next and the last thing that we need to do, we're almost there, is creating the database. So I'll head on to the PHP my admin, and here I'll create a new database, and I'll just come and call it upload, as we have named it already. So the upload, so I'll just come and say create. So database upload has been created. So we want to come and have it with a table called upload table. Just have 4 columns, those are enough. So I say go. And here we just want to have the ID. Can set the length to 10. I also want it to be auto increment, and we're also going to have the description. The description will have a Vasha, type of Vasha. Let me just give it 100. 100 is enough. Then we also have image name, so Vasha, we give this 255, and that's it. So I can just come down here and save that. And the table is created, so let me just go to browse here. Yes, and we have the table there with ID, description, image name. So all is done. Yes, so we have it there. So I can now head on back to my index.php file, and let me just come and choose a file. We just come and choose this one, and I say open. So I should have it there. Here I can just have a simple description. I can say this is a sample description. So description for this image. And then I say upload. So we are setting that to the upload_inc.php, and we do have an error somewhere on line 38. Let's get back to that and fix it. Oh, sorry, so we need to have this is with an equals, so that should have an equals as well there. Let's see if that fixes the problem. Yeah, and we are back here. We are not yet seeing the success button, or rather the success message, but let's just get to our folder here and see if we have the image being moved here. Yes, and we do have it here. We can also just go to our database and confirm the image was saved in the database. And the same was done, only that the description was not captured, but we still have the image. So let's see how we can fix that. So the first thing that I'll need to do is to have the session start on this page. So I'm going to come on top here, and within the PHP I'm going to come and start the session. So to start a session, we just come and say session underscore start. Start, and then we have those set of brackets, and then we add that with a semicolon. So we should have the session starting on the upload_inc.php, and we should also have it on the adx.php, so being on top here. So I should come and have the PHP tags here, and here I need to come and say a session underscore start. And now we can just come and determine where the message will be appearing. Maybe we can just come and have it on top here. Session uploaded is set, so we are going to say if that is set, so that is uploaded. So if that is set, we're going to come and echo the session uploaded. So we're just going to come and echo it like this. So echo session uploaded, just like that. And now what we need to also do is to unset the condition, because we don't want the message to always be there. So I'm also going to come and unset the session. And this is how we unset a condition. So underscore loaded. So this will help us to only have the message for a limited time, but of course when the page is refreshed or reloaded, the message just disappears. So we are only going to have the message there as long as the website or the page has not been reloaded or refreshed. So hoping that that is working fine. Let's just check what is happening with the description. So let me just, okay, we have two names here. Let me just fix that. And we also need to have these being the same. So description is okay. And on the database we have description, so that's fine. So let's refresh that and try to upload yet another image. Oh, sorry, we have an error that we have created on line 18. What's the problem? Oh, sorry, typo here, so it should be if it's set. So let us just pick another file here. And this time now, let me just come and pick this image here. Say open. Just have a simple description. Let's say a description for this image goes here. Then we upload that. You get that success message, image uploaded successfully. So let's check that on the browser, I mean on the database. Yes, and we are having now the description and the name, which is working very fine. We also need to confirm on the image folder, and we can see the images there. And as you can notice now, the images are coming with a specific name, so that is tutorial name and a specific number. A tutorial name and a specific number. So if this is something that you want, then you can have it the way we have created that. So now finally, what I want to show you is how you can be able to now show those images below here. How you can be able to retrieve them from the database and showcase them here. So we're going to get back to our index.php, and below our form, maybe we can just come and have a heading 2 here, and maybe just come and call it image gallery, yeah, something like that. And here we are going to utilize the bootstrap grid. So I'm just going to come and create a container here, and I'll give it a div with the class of container, so just like that. So what I'll do down here is that I'll create a div with a class of container, so container, and within the container I'm going to create another div with a class of low. So as I mentioned, I'm utilizing the bootstrap grid system. Now within the low, I'm going to create another div with a class of with a class of call md4. Now within that, I'm going to come and I'm going to utilize the bootstrap cards. So I'm just going to come and say card, and this card I'm going to give it a class, and I'll give it a class of card shadow, because I want the cards to have some shadow. So I'll just say shadow, sorry, this should be shadow. And of course now here we are going to have the image, and we are going to come and have the source with image, and we are going to echo the image from the database later. And we're also going to have the description. Maybe we can have it within a paragraph, a tag with a class of read, and we are going to have the image, all the description here. So now to be able to retrieve the images from the database, I'm just going to come below the div low here, and I'm going to come and open and close PHP here. And within the PHP, I'm now going to come and have the PHP script that will be used to, of course, retrieve the images from the database. And the first thing that I will need here is to connect to the database. So I'll just come and say require, and I will just require the con.php, so that will now have me with so within the PHP tags, the first thing that I'll do is to connect to the database. So I'll say require con.php, and below that I'm going to again create a variable SQL, and I'll say select, and I want to select everything from the upload folder. So I'll just come and say upload underscore table, and now what I want to do here is to create the query that will fetch the data from the database. So I can create a comment and say create a query that will fetch the data from the database. So this should be fetch data from the database. And to be able to do that, I'm going to create a variable called res, and I'll set it to equal to MYSQLI underscore query, and this will have the parameters con and the parameter SQL. So after that, now I want to check if we have any records in the database. So I can just come and say check if there are records in the database. And to do that, I'll just come and say if the variable res or result is equal true. So if it is equal true, I want to first count the number of rows that are available. So I'll create a variable and call it count, and MySQLI underscore num underscore close, and this will have the variable res or the parameter results, variable results, yes, and After that, I'll want to come and say if the count is greater than 0, I want now to be able to fetch the information. Else, if the results are less than 0, then I will want to echo a message that we don't have any records in the database. So I'll just come and again have an if a statement again here, and the condition will be the count variable if it is greater than 0. So if it is greater than 0, that means we have some records in the database. I want to use the while loop to fetch data from the database. So I'll just come and have this with the row is equals to MYSQLI MYSQLI underscore fetch underscore assoc. And I'll give it the variable res. And now down here, before we go down there, I also want to come in. Now before we go down there, I also want to come down here and say, else if this is less than 0, we also want to come and say else echo, maybe you can say no records found. So if that is the count variable returns something that is less than 0, but if it returns something that is greater than 0, then this is what we should continue with. And here we want to come and grab the ID, and that will be equal to the variable row, and we want to come and have the ID. So we're just grabbing the ID and storing it in a variable called ID here. And we also want to come and have the image and name as well. So image underscore name is equals to a row and here I want to come and have the image underscore name. And finally we have the description is equals to variable row, and this should be rows and not row, so don't forget to have that rows, and should have a set of brackets there. We say description. Yes, just like that. And now just below the last stuff that we have here, the description, I want to come and break the PHP so that we started here and start it as well here, just like that. This is because I want to come and have the HTML just in between here, so I'm just going to come and grab my card, so this one here, so I cut that, and I should have it now within this. So that's how we have or we place some HTML within PHP. So we just click it and start it again. So we now have that there, and now I can now be able to come and echo the image. So I can just come here and have the PHP opening and closing tags, and then I can just come and say echo image underscore name, and for this one again I should have the PHP closing and opening tags, and then we echo the variable description across that. So that's all the PHP script that we need to retrieve the information from the database. So let us see how that works. So I just come and refresh that. And we are having an error somewhere, so rows so what does it say about rows? Undefined variable rows. Okay, so oh sorry, we should also have these as rows as well. So image underscore name, what name do we have here? So undefined name. Online 48. Oh, sorry. Another typo there. Alright, so this took me some time to solve. So actually the problem that we had is we didn't have that $sign here, so we were just inserting the image name with this specific image. So that's why we were unable to retrieve the image on the index.php. So here we should actually have the variable image underscore name, so that now when we insert this image into the database, we are inserting it with the name that it was given on top here. So that is the problem that the code was having, and as a result we were unable to get the file. So let's now just come on top here and choose a file and see if it will appear down here. So I'm just going to come and maybe pick an image like this one, and I'm going to have it with a sample description there, and then I say upload. Yes, so file uploaded successfully, and as you can see, the image appears down here. Now when we go to the database, we are going to see the name of that specific image here. So previously it was just appearing as image name and not as the name of the specific image. So if I refresh that, we get rid of that specific success message. Maybe we can do 2 more here. So let me just come and pick that one. We set it, and so we refresh that, and we're going to have that. Then we can have one more. Maybe we can have the cocktail here. Yeah, and that's how the images will look like. So that's how you can be able to create file upload system and also be able to retrieve the images on whichever page that you want, and also be able to get that success message. So hope the content was successful. So if this was successful, kindly give it a thumbs up. You can also consider commenting down there anything that you may want, and I'll be more than ready to respond to you. So as usual, see you in the next one.